So, Asobi Ace of Base. What do you guys think of this show?
You like this show.
You like this show.
Yeah.
You like this show. It's very obvious you like this show.
With how much you were laughing, you like this show.
Yeah.
And, like, explaining jokes and, like, saying that this joke actually comes back later. You like this show.
Yeah, I do. I do like it. Yeah, Asobi Ace of Base. So it's kind of a parody of comedy series, which is really interesting. It's, well, it takes...
Is it meant to be a parody? Because I didn't really get the vibe that it was a parody. Or just felt like it was a school skit style show that doesn't really like care about its premise.
You know what it reminds me of? Nichijou.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
Burn?
No, not Burn.
Okay, no Burn. Ooh,
that's one we might get to in the future. But anyway,
listen, the only reason I know that fucking show is because a guy wrestles a deer. Okay.
Yeah. But so it takes the I'm trying to think of how to word this because it's late now and my brain's not working as much.
It's okay.
There's a lot of series that are like lighthearted, like slice of life comedies that are set up in this way. And Asobi Ace of Base, especially like with the opening, is kind of trying to trick you into thinking that's what it's going to be at first. And it essentially is like, okay, well, we're taking the format of these previously existing, like, comedies, but we're making it this.
Yeah.
Which I've seen people describe as a comedy horror, which is such a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's, like, kind of making fun of, like, the stereotypical, like, comedies, where it's, like, the girls have traits that characters normally have in those shows, but they just, like, amplify them to 100%.
Yeah.
I guess my thing is, like, it doesn't feel like they're commenting on it at all. It doesn't, like, the reason I didn't pick up is, like, it's a parody of this is because it doesn't actually feel like it's saying anything about anything else of, like, hey, it's dumb when shows do this like this.
Yeah,
it just feels like it's just doing its own thing.
Yeah, I guess parody is, like, the wrong word, but it was basically taking that format and making it, like,
okay,
hey, here's, you know, they're normally, like, slice of life kind of comedies about, like, girls being friends and they have, like, a little club together and here's the format that they use, but also we're just gonna be, like, absolutely fucking ridiculous with it. Is kind of, like, the route. I guess parody was not the best word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So basically, Spooky doesn't know English.
Yeah.
Well...
But Spooky knows anime.
Listen, we delayed for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Damn, it's almost 4 a.m. Cut me some slack here.
Did you know?
Did you know we're dating and timing this episode exactly?
Dear.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, there's an anime intro, and we cut to them playing...
First of all, it's episode 3 that we're talking about here.
Okay, it's episode 3, and there's some anime intro, and then they're playing a game in class together. And Spooky, let's clarify real quick, one of the characters looks like Spooky.
It's true.
Exactly like Spooky.
Yes.
Spooky doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want people to order other people around if they win. And she is basically, like, really, really upsets Blonde Girl about it. And she's like, oh no, I feel responsible. And then she's like, okay, you know what? It's okay if we have a penalty. Just don't order people around. And Blonde Girl's like, cool. Blonde Girl's parents apparently do something culturally where they sniff each other's armpits if they lose a game or something.
I should say really quick, Olivia is actually just from Japan.
Okay.
Her parents are, like, from America, but it's, like...
Okay.
There was, like, a big part... The series begins with Olivia tricking Hanako into thinking she's American, even though she's born and raised in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, like, a whole big thing.
Born in Japan.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times where, like, somebody will say something to her in Japanese, and she's like, oh, I don't understand, like, what's that? And it's really fucking good.
So,
Yeah.
Blonde makes the pigtails win, so she has to sniff Spooky's armpit first. And that's fine. She doesn't smell like anything. It's okay. And then she goes to sniff blonde girl's armpit, and she smells like shit. But Pigtails is, like, freaking out and, like, crawling across the floor trying to get the smell out of her nose. And she's like, wait, what's wrong? What did you smell? And she's like, oh, nothing. I'm pretending to be a cat. Meow. And then they play again, and Spooky and Pigtails form an alliance together.
Because they don't want to smell well, okay, so Pigtails doesn't want to smell armpits anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Spooky doesn't want her armpits smelt, so she wants to win. So
Yes.
she's like, okay, an alliance will let me win. It's...
Well, she doesn't want to smell armpits either. They make the alliance to try to make Olivia win so that Olivia will have to smell their armpits.
Yeah.
Versus the other way around.
But Blonde knows that they're doing shit now, so Spooky now is lost and was absolutely betrayed to lose. And
well, she won.
Well, lost when, yeah, she won, and then
She
the prize
won.
is...
Yeah.
Okay!
Yeah.
Anyway, basically, she pulled the short straw and has to sniff people's armpits. And she just goes, you know what, I'm just gonna go buy you a drink instead, it's fine.
Yeah, she gives up on her principles.
Yeah.
And then the next part comes in, and teacher is teaching a class and teaching people how to speak English. And she's like, hey, Pigtails, can you say this thing? And she has candy in her mouth, and she's like, oh no, I can't speak with candy in my mouth. I have to put it under my tongue. And she tries, and teacher's like, what the fuck, when she talks. And then she's like, okay, I need to move this candy because it's moved to the side of my mouth for some reason. And I need to suck it in and back under my tongue. And she breathes in really sharp, and she chokes on it. And then is later reprimanded by teacher and told to not eat candy. But she was sitting there also going, wow, girls are scary. I wanted to teach girls, but girls are scary. And then the teacher starts to wonder if she's going to die alone. And Pigtails is in the Pastimers Club, and the teacher's like, oh, can I come? And she's like, sure. The Pastimers Club, though, is just her, Blonde, and Spooky. And they study pleasure seekers in this club, and teacher wonders if that means matchmaking. It doesn't. But
it's
fine.
so confusing.
Then go ahead.
No, I'm not saying you're confusing. I'm saying, like, what's happening is confusing.
Yes.
It's like, what?
Yeah, there's really no plot.
No. They decide to find her a boyfriend. And teacher likes shoujo manga and things that can't exist in real life, like men with superpowers. And they're like, okay, well, go online to find someone. They're like, oh, well, my accounts have always been hacked, so I'm not good at that. But Pigtails has a Twitter account, so she helps teacher make one. And Spooky gets them to add a certain line to her bio. And then they're gonna need to get her to take a photo, so they get her to take a photo with this weird fake nipple top that they have. And a fucking... oh my god. And they're like, okay, cool, we can now use this entire Twitter to post as the club and use it as blackmail.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, they blackmail their teacher to be their supervisor.
Next story. There's a club that wants to use the room, but the Pastimers Club is in that room. And the student council girl is like, huh, that's weird. So I'm gonna go kick them out. And Pigtails apparently wants to go for a manicure or something, and I didn't grasp that. It didn't matter. And teacher is called away to go do something, and then the girl comes in to tell them that they have to leave. And she tries to say it nicely, and she terrifies the fuck out of them. And apparently, I can't believe it, Spooky. God damn it, Spooky. You haven't turned in the form to use the class.
Why didn't you turn in the form?
God damn it, Spooky.
Yeah, I fucked it all up. I'm sorry.
You did. So the Shogi Club is to use the room and is going to try to antagonize the other girls to get them to leave. And one of the girls, Pigtail Girls, says that shogi is the act of shooting lasers out their butt, and that they shouldn't be doing that inside. And someone goes, what? and then they decide to settle it with a pastime instead. Loser leaves. It's a shoe launching competition, and we go first. And the shoe is launched straight up, and Pigtails wants to die, and she sucks at this. And then the other team goes, and she only does slightly better. But then Spooky goes, and her shoe goes 20 meters, and the other team only goes 5. And then Blonde decides to use the swing, and it goes 50 meters. So Shogi President uses a bike, and it goes a whole kilometer. And then she gets horribly fucking injured, tumbling off the bike. And they've lost the room, so that sucks. And they're like, okay, well, hey, can we take me to the hospital? And Shogi Club walks off, and everyone's sad. But since Shogi Club had multiple fractures, they decide to actually meet up at her house, though, where she's being taken care of and recovering. So they get to keep the club room for now. And then that was the episode.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, wait, no, there's one more thing. There's one more thing.
Because there's one more thing.
There's one more thing. There is puppets in the after show special, and they play hide and seek from a grizzly bear, and they also pull out paper knives and guns, while Spooky wants to be friends with the grizzly bear and pulls out a real fucking hammer to fight off the other puppets. And then one of the puppets gets naked, and then the bear goes after them, and there's sounds of ripping and tearing, and Spooky's just giggling, and that was the episode.
Yep.
Yeah, Spooky wants to fuck a bear.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently. That's what they tell me.
It's... by the end of that episode is where we were like, okay, we get what this show is now. Like, it's a no-plot, loosely hanging off a premise so they can do skits type comedy show.
To be fair, I kind of understood that before you, because I was like, oh, this is like Nichigo, so...
Yeah. Except for Nichigo has plot.
Yeah.
I more meant like because I think it was around the end of the first skit that I said it, but like, I mean more at the end of the episode, it's like, okay, now we have the whole picture of what the episode is. It's like, it's 100% confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to episode 6. Jesus, fuck.
Yep.
It starts out with some weird, creepy magic witch girl talking to the Pastimers Club, being like, hey, let's read a book. I forget what the book is. I jokingly said it was the Necronomicon. It may as well have been.
I think it actually was.
And they're like... then they were like, well, what happened to your club? And she's like, well, 2 of them transferred. What was it? 2 graduated, 1 transferred, and 1 teleported away.
Yes.
And they're like, what? She's like, yeah, 1 teleported away. And then Pigtails is just like, okay, so 2 graduated and 2 transferred. And she's like, no, that's not what I said. And she's like, no, I listened to exactly what you said. And so they're like, okay, where did she actually teleport to? And they're like, well, before she left, she said she wanted to go to the River Styx, so I guess she teleported to Hades then. And it says it in like a creepy voice, and they're like, let's get to the bottom of this. So they go find the teacher. They're like, hey, this student by this name, where are they? What happened to them? And the teacher's like, oh, well, they're just, they're just ill. They're in the hospital. And it's, like, weird. It's like she's kind of covering something up because she's like, I don't know if I should be telling you this if she didn't tell her herself. And they're like, well, maybe we could help her get better. Like, how did she... Why didn't we notice? Like, why didn't I notice that she was getting ill? What's going on? And we get, like, a flashback where it's like, she was tired after PE, so she laid down in the club, and the magic girl is, like, beating herself up over it. And then, was it Pigtails who grabs her? I think it was Pigtails who grabs her. Or was it Olivia? I can't remember. One of the two. Doesn't matter. One of them grabs her and just says, don't come to your senses. Like don't come to your senses now. Like, don't start, like, believing in reality. Like, now's the time when you should be, like, even further into your magic and trying to make this work. Which is like, okay, that's kind of funny. And she's like, well, I guess we could try voodoo. And so she brings out a voodoo doll and, like, dresses it up. And this is when I noticed, like, is that just a photo of a voodoo doll? It's not even, like, a drawing. It's just a photo. Which I thought was really cute. And then they're like, okay, so we dress it up like her, we make it look like her, and then we get the black pin, because the black pin will get rid of her suffering. And so they're like, but wait, I don't know where she was sick. And then Olivia's like, why don't you just put them all over then? That way she'll be all good all over. And Magic Girl's like, yeah, you're right. So they put pins everywhere in the fucking doll that they can. And Magic Girl's like, wow, thank you, you saved the day. I'm gonna go feel better now. She leaves and the teacher comes in and is like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we just did some voodoo, put some pins in the doll to make her feel better. You know, we didn't know where she was also, we put them all over. And the teacher just goes, did you put any in her butt then? Oh, wait, I shouldn't have said that. And they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, she just has hemorrhoids.
Mm-hmm.
God.
And that was the fucking end of that skit.
Yep.
And so then we move on to the second one, where Pigtails is studying all night and cramming and studying over and over to try and do good in studies. And it comes to the exam and she gets second place. And the girl who got first is this perfect student who everyone loves, and she has a boyfriend. And, oh, well, I just studied with my boyfriend. Ah ha ha, teehee. And then Pigtails gets real jealous and is like, calls her a slut. And then the show breaks its own fourth wall with a narrator who's just like, she's really angry at the moment.
Please forgive her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some guy comes in. Don't tell me who he is, Spooky, because I don't care.
Okay.
He comes in and he's like, hey, what's the problem? Like, you got second. She's like, but it's what was it? Oh yeah, I'm losing at life because I didn't get first. And he just goes, you think you're winning or losing at life in middle school? Are you fucking kidding me? And starts laughing at her. And she's like, hey, I don't have a boyfriend who can help me study. He's like, well, here, me and your grandfather built one for you. And this, I really love this, because it's acknowledging how bad an idea it is. She now has this pretty boy anime boyfriend who's a robot who will say encouraging things to her and help her study. But it's like, just saying, creepy pickup lines and like telling, like kind of negging her, and it's like, but me and your grandfather programmed it perfectly. We know what a woman wants to hear.
Yes.
And she's like, I don't want to hear this shit. Like, I don't care. So she decapitates it, pulls it apart because she doesn't want to listen to it anymore. Then the other two walk in and they see her holding his head above her head, and they are about to throw up because they're like, Jesus Christ, she just killed a man. And she's like, no, it's not what it looks like. He's not a real man. And then he talks, and it scares the other two. And then that's the end of that skit.
Yep.
Yeah.
They scream. And then suddenly we're on to the third skit. Olivia's sitting in the club room. And she's like, man, it's hot. I'm gonna cut my hair. Jesus Christ. And my notes, I just say, Olivia wants to cut her hair. Cutting your hair won't fix your BO problem, girl. Because Olivia comes in and... the Spooky comes in, sorry. No, not Spooky. Pigtails comes in and is like, don't cut your hair. Cutting your hair won't fix your BO problem. Which, like, what? And Olivia's like, I just want to cut my hair because it's hot. What do you mean? What did you just say? Pigtails is like, nothing, don't worry. And so there's like a back and forth about whether she should do it or not. She's like, it's okay, if I mess up, I'll just go to a stylist. And she cuts the tiniest bit of hair off and immediately regrets it, starts going around screaming. And Spooky comes in and is like, it's okay, you can't notice it, it's not that bad. And then she immediately calms down and is like, okay, in that case, I'll keep going. And Spooky's like, what? No. So Olivia starts cutting her bangs then and immediately cuts them way too short. Mm-hmm. And freaks out again, and they're like, but it's not noticeable, right, Spooky? And Spooky just goes, it's so noticeable. And so they freak out even more. And then the teacher walks in. They're like, Sensei will fix it for you. And she's like, yeah, I cut my own hair. I do my own bangs. It's all good. I can help you. And Olivia's like, wait, you do your own bangs? And it's like a back and forth between the teacher's hair and her. Teacher's hair and her. And she's like, oh god, wait, can I'm not consenting to this. As like the teacher cuts her hair. And then, oh god, that's the end of that skit, because we go on to the next skit. Jesus, it's still a hot day. They walk in, Pigtails walks into Olivia, and is like, Sensei? And Olivia's like, what? No, it's me, Olivia. And she's like, oh, sorry, you just have the same hair, so I didn't notice. And then Spooky walks in, and is like, hello, Olivia as if to say, like, Olivia Sensei or something like that. To give her, like, a I forget exactly what it was, but it was like a portmanteau nickname. Mm-hmm. Olivia's like, don't you dare make that my fucking nickname. And I'm just going to tell you my notes for this skit. Okay. It's now a hot day, so they're on the floor playing some game. Long hair can't pull Spooky. Spooky yeets them. Sensei was the first to get pulled out. So they're playing, I forget the name of the game, but it's essentially a game where people are sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, daikon pull.
Yeah.
And the person outside the ring grabs their legs and tries to pull them outside the ring. And the comedy ensues from, haha, this person can't lift this other person. Haha, this person's very easy at lifting the other person. And then the teacher walks in at the end and is like, hey, I love this game. I'm very good at it. I'm very, I never let go. Don't worry. You can't pull me out. And then it just cuts to saying, yeah, she was the first to get pulled out.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the skit and the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a fun show. There are, and I mean, you saw hints of them. There are, like, some kind of problematic jokes sprinkled throughout that you just kind of have to look the other way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there weren't any terrible ones.
No.
Let's be honest, there weren't as many. If it was all guys, there would have been worse jokes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, like I said, they just kind of pull stereotypical characters, and make them way more that. Like, Hanako, who's the Pigtails one, she wants so badly to be, like, a popular girl, but she's also, like, too afraid of, like, breaking the rules, and she wants to be, like, a star student, but that's why she's always like, oh, manicures, oh, makeup, oh, boys, but, like, she's also the most naive of the three, despite actually being the smartest of the three, which I think is funny, like, as far as academics go. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Like, it's not a crazy show. Like, it's nothing, like, extremely groundbreaking. It's just, like, I turn it on and kind of turn my brain off and just kind of have a good time with it.
I'm happy to turn my brain off for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad, Gam, that you mentioned the voice acting being so good in it, by the way.
It is really good.
Yeah, so
like,
Hanako,
really good.
Hanako Pigtail, she's my favorite voice in the show. Like, I think her voice actress did an amazing job. This was, like, the first main role she had.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She still hasn't been in a lot. She's normally supporting roles, and she's only been, like, a few main roles. And I wish she would do more, because she's amazing. And I think the other girls, like, hadn't been in a lot either. And the voice acting is one of the things that I think, like, really stood out with it. So it surprised me. It, like, really surprised me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
What happens in the next episode, dear?
Damn it. I was hoping to see if Spooky didn't remember.
I was hoping to, but Spooky didn't.
Yeah,
I was legitimately waiting for Spooky to say the exact words, so what would you rate it out of 10 then, dear? And then both Dear and I would have gone, hey, Spooky, you know there's another episode to talk about, right?
I didn't realize there was another episode to talk about. I'm gonna be honest. It's way too late. I'm, like, falling asleep at my desk. It's fine.
Okay, let's do the last episode. Okay, let's go. Episode 8, Blonde is playing Pokemon Go. Pigtails is like, wow, that's popular worldwide. And she's like, oh, wait, no, actually, it's called Bacteria Go instead. It's a different game. It's not as popular. You hold up your phone and you catch fun things. There's a detection feature that detects real bacteria.
Not like fun things. You collect bacteria.
Yeah, let me finish. Like the black mold that they found and caught on her cup. And she's like, wow, that's so cute. And Spooky comes in and then slowly closes the door after being explained what's going on. She's like, no, I don't want this. So Blonde checks Spooky's desk to find bacteria, and she can't find anything because she sanitizes. And so instead, Blonde checks Pigtail's desk again for more things and checks her boys' mat that couldn't be dirty, but there's fecal material all over it for some reason. after she rubbed it on her face. And apparently her cat has been rubbing its butt on it, and they thought it was cute, so they didn't stop it. And they decided to check everything in her bed, and everything is covered in bacteria. So they're like, okay, well, let's sanitize your stuff and go home. And then Pigtails forgets her notices that Blonde forgot her phone, and, like, picks it up and goes, oh, hey, like, do you want your phone? And she's like, oh, yeah. And then it starts going off and, like, doing, like, giant warnings. And it's 2 giant fucking red exclamation points on Blonde's armpits. And she's like, what's that? She's like, oh, that's, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, where's that bacteria it's sensing? It's like, over there. And then that was that. Back at home, Pigtails went clothes shopping with her friends, but doesn't know why she brought the dress she did. It has, like, a horse on it with, like, a fucking ponytail sticking out of it. And Spooky apparently encouraged her to buy it, so she calls to ask about the clothes. And asking why she said the dress was nice, but this is also, of course, in a Murder Mafia voice. Like, why the fuck did you fucking say that, you fucking piece of shit, you motherfucker? But Pigtails, of course, fucking gets lied to about it, and because she's just distorting what the memory was. So Spooky's like, hey, I actually was in the bathroom, and Blonde is the one that said it. So she's like, all right, I'll call her. So she calls Blonde and asks her what clothing she got, and she's like, huh, that's really weird. And she sends her a photo of it. She's like, oh, that's really cute. It makes you look like a virgin killer. So Pigtails then goes down this whole Illuminati rabbit hole about killing virgins and what God wants for her to kill virgins and why that's going to be, and why she should be the one killing virgins over specifically the age 97. So instead, she looks up virgin killer clothes to try to figure out what they are. And they're like, oh, hey, these are all cute photos. They're like, oh, it's a Freemason conspiracy, and Blonde wants to hit Harajuku up in the dress and cause mass havoc and bloodshed. And there's no news of virgins dying on the media, so it's probably being covered up by the government. And they really want to invite Spooky out too, and she probably knows a whole lot about sniping and killing people. And they're gonna go steal boys' hearts. And she's like, I never realized how violent the world is. Should I bring a knife? And hangs up. And then that was that.
Yep.
Blonde and Pigtails are doing yeah.
Oh, it's still more spooky.
Go ahead.
Spooky.
I keep thinking you're ending because you paused for so long.
I run out.
Dan needs to breathe.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so there is. I run out of breath really, really easily because I was pointed out that I don't breathe while I speak. So if I start talking and I just run out of air, that's why, and that's also why I start yawning when I talk for long periods of time. Because I'm not getting air.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Blonde and Pigtails are doing a memory game, and Pigtails is like, lol, you're dumb. And then Blonde, like, flips all the cards over perfectly on her first try, and she's like, look, I got it right on the first try. And Pigtails asks Spooky to go pee with her, and they talk outside in the hallway, and they're like, was it luck? Or, like, what? We should test her with another game. She's stupid. She didn't even study for her test. Why would she have good memory? And they bring out this game, and every cell has a penalty if you land on it. And Blonde goes first. She rolls a 1. She has to make pig noises. Spooky rolls a 4. She has to pretend she's a dog peeing. Pigtails rolls a 6 and has to get her butt slapped by the other 2. And she just takes it and screams. But then Spooky tries to take it easy on her. She's like, no, don't. And she's like, no, I was kidding. And then Spooky just fucking beats the fuck out of her with an AK-47 noise and everything. And Pigtails rolls again, crawling around the hallway like a baby, and runs into the student council president. And she then asks her about the culture festival booth, and they start a fucking race because 2 legs is greater than 4 legs for some reason. And then they're like, oh god, get in here. And they're like, oh god, get in here quickly before she, like, tries to lap you again. And then Pigtails rolls again and has to sit like a dog and beg. But there's also some clip art of some people fucking, and how it was basically a penis joke, and Spooky can explain that later. Actual Spooky also has to make a noise like a koala when she rolls. Blonde rolls and has to do a tongue twister to one of the teachers, and Pigtails comes up and has to do a Sailor Moon impression to him before running off. But then Spooky decides, I'm actually going to fire this Kamehameha at him, and teacher's like, okay, I'm ready to pretend this time, and pretends to be fucking murdered. So Spooky thanks him for being so nice and playing along, and he's like, okay, I'm glad I could help. I really need to get to the nurse, because he's fucking, like, neck snapped horrible. The group doesn't want to play anymore, though, but they work together and finish it, and Spooky won. So the girls go pee again and check if Olivia was actually lucky, and they're like, I don't think she was. And they're like, wait, what if she has psychic powers? And we cut to her in the room going, I was just using a magic trick. I'm surprised they actually, like, took that seriously. And then she starts laughing, and we cut back out to the hallway and see them freaking out going, oh my god, she hurt us! And yeah, that was the episode.
And that's
there
the actual
Spooky.
Ending. Sorry for spacing out so hard during this.
You're good.
I get sleepy listening to my friend, like, when people are, like, talking. So it's, like,
wow,
late.
So you hear your friends talk and you just fall asleep.
No, it's more of when things are being explained.
Wow.
It makes me sleepy. It's because you guys have, it's relaxing to me.
All right, Gam, we're leaving. We're going to go do the Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, we're leaving. We're going to go do our own.
I know, I'm sorry. Wait, what are you guys going to read it?
A 6. I think it's good, but like I don't really know if I'd want to watch more of it.
Okay.
Like maybe if I had like absolutely nothing to do and I'm like I just want to watch something that I haven't watched yet. It's like that would be on the list of I haven't watched this and I thought it was okay, so I may as well watch it. Like there was some jokes in there that I thought were really funny, but I feel like as a whole, it feels like it doesn't go far enough for me to like really want to watch it.
Gotcha.
I'd watch it.
What would you give it?
That's not a number, dear.
I already said my number. It was an 8.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
I didn't hear that either.
I legitimately was making the joke that we left, and I like went over here and went 8.
Oh,
I think your microphone didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever.
But yeah, I like it. When I first watched it, I think I gave it like a 10, but I also watched it on the couch with a bunch of my friends, and we were laughing like a lot harder. On rewatch, I was like, yeah, it's still really good, but it's not as good as I remember, you know what I mean, type deal. So and I watched it when it came out.
I feel like it is one of those ones that's a lot more fun with friends.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, I would give it like an 8 or a 9, somewhere in there. Because I still really enjoy it. Probably I'm with Deer on this one. Probably more like an 8. But
it's almost what we were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost.
A series that Deer and Spooky love, but I don't like at all.
Well, I want to find one where you guys hate it and I like it, but that's going to be hard to do, I think.
Well, probably. I thought we weren't going to watch Madoka for a while.
Fuck you.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, Deer likes...
Fucking asshole.
Deer likes Madoka, so that doesn't even work, Gam. It'll be 2v1 with that one. But,
damn. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun show.
Can't believe
that's
this.
about it. I'm probably gonna go pass the fuck out now.
And you listening to this should pass the fuck out too.
Yeah, hey, regardless of
whatever
time it
you're
is
doing.
Right now, yeah, just go to sleep.
Just pass out.
Unless you're
regardless of
unless
whatever
you're
you're
like,
doing. If you're driving,
yeah, if you're driving home, don't please.
No.
If you're driving home,
on the side of the road.
No, don't.
No, just pass out.
Don't listen to that advice.
No, just pass out.
Park on the side of the road first. Park on the side of the road first.
There we go.
Okay, pass out so that you move over to the side of the road naturally.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, listen to Deer.
Okay. Good.
Okay. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
See you next
Spooky,
time.
go. Bye.
Bye.
Good. And yeah, bye.